Dyslexia. Many people have heard of it, but there are many who haven't. And the many that have heard of it have probably only heard of the misconceptions, like smart people cannot be dyslexic. Dyslexia is outgrown, and dyslexics cannot read. Dyslexia actually has nothing to do with your intelligence, and it cannot and will not stop anybody from being successful in their own life. In fact, many successful people are dyslexic. Now, let's take a little bit and learn about dyslexia. The definition of dyslexia is that it is a language-based learning disorder, which means people with dyslexia often have trouble with reading, writing, and spelling. The first misconception I mentioned earlier was that smart people cannot be dyslexic. But according to the article Debunking the Myths About Dyslexia, individuals with dyslexia are actually very bright, which I am taking that as they meant they are very intelligent. Dyslexia actually is not outgrown. Once you have been diagnosed with dyslexia, you will always be considered a dyslexic. Even if reading and writing and spelling does become easier for you, you will still always be considered a dyslexic. Now, although it affects your reading, writing, and spelling, dyslexia has nothing to do with your intelligence because you were going to be either smart or dumb from the beginning, and dyslexia has nothing to do with that. The Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA accommodations, is there to help people with dyslexia, and it helps them by teaching them how to learn how to read, write, and spell accordingly. And it will always be there to help them through school and with their work. Dyslexics might read slower than the average person, but the fact is they can read. Let's look at what is possible for people with dyslexia. Things are and will forever be more difficult, but it obviously will not stop anybody from being successful, like I have mentioned many times before. How many of you have an Apple product, as in an iPhone, an iPad, or an iMac computer? How many of you knew that Steve Jobs was diagnosed as a dyslexic? That didn't stop him from being successful. Would you have guessed that he was dyslexic? Found on the powerofdyslexia.com, the Grey's Anatomy star, Patrick Dempsey, is also dyslexic. And while I have Grey's Anatomy mentioned, the doctor in Grey's Anatomy, Christina Yang, played by the actress Sandra Oh. Christina Yang is also dyslexic in the show, and they talk about her struggles that she had in her college career and how it was very difficult for her at times to become a doctor, but how it did not stop her from becoming a fantastic surgeon. Dyslexia is considered a disability, and when people hear disability, they often think of the word can't. Somebody can't do this, or they can't do that. But actually, that is not what it means at all. It just means it's a little more difficult than the average person. And it does not mean you can't be successful, like I have stressed before. I know this firsthand because I am dyslexic, and I do struggle with reading, writing, and spelling on everyday things like texting or writing a paper. And it will not stop me from becoming a teacher and teaching my young kids how to read, write, and spell every day.